Hey everyone! Welcome to the second tutorial in our Twine series. As I mentioned in the last tutorial, you can write interactive fiction without knowing any code, using only the tools shown in the introductory video. But this week, we're going to get a bit fancier. In this tutorial, we'll look at collecting items and developing an inventory system. Collecting items has always been a big part of interactive fiction, and gaming in general. Whether it's finding a key to unlock a door, or gathering a robust inventory full of specialized weapons. Items can be game goals in themselves, or can be used to unlock new content. In order to make these objects into something readers can interact with, collect, store in an inventory, use at appropriate parts of the interactive story, we need to make them variables. Using variables will introduce a teeny bit of computer programming. But if you feel intimidated by coding, don't worry. We'll take it slowly and step by step. So, what is a variable? Basically, a variable is like an empty box where you can store information. In this case, we'll be storing information about an item that we're creating. This information might include how many of these items we have collected, if we currently have that item, or have lost it. So, how do we create a variable? Well, let's open Twine. First off, we need to give a variable a name. In an RPG-inspired Twine, you might decide you want to give your player a weapon. So let's create a sword variable. Here are a couple names. You might get fancier with the names. Short sword, wooden sword, hero sword. It doesn't really matter what you name it. What really matters is the $sign. It must begin with a $sign. So it would be $sign short sword, $sign wooden sword, $sign hero sword. The $sign is a symbol or sigil that tells the computer that this is the name of a variable. You can call your variable pretty much anything, but you can only use uppercase, lowercase, numbers, or underscores. So no spaces, punctuation, or special characters allowed. Also, you can't start the name with a number written in numerals. So you can write $sword1, but don't write $1 sword. Because this might confuse the computer into thinking you're typing an amount of money. So let's decide to call our variable $short_sword. I don't think our Twine character is ready for a longer sword yet. And I'm just putting an underscore in the name for the sake of clarity, so the words are easier to read when I'm writing them. All right, we have a variable. Now what do we do with it? Let's keep it simple. Let's have our player collect one sword. We have our variable already. Now we need just a little bit of code, or a macro, to set this up. Macros are used for all sorts of things, changing the state of a game, presenting different text depending on what a player chooses, or displaying text in a different way. For macros, we use the rounded brackets, like we're drawing a circle around our code. So you have an open round bracket. We're going to set our variable to 1, closing round bracket. This means we have one short sword. Why don't we create a short Twine to show this in action? Here's our beginning. This is a story, an epic story full of monsters and battles and stuff. But at the beginning, I am just a peasant who works at a farm. Simple, simple beginning. Let's introduce a weapon. So I have our variable short sword. Now let's also get some hit points, or HP. So I have HP. We're putting in another variable, and we'll call it heroic hit points. And let's create and link to a new passage here. There's our new passage called Epic Beginning. And let's play this, see what we have. So here we have our twine, and here at the bottom, this is where we had our variables. So as we can see, we have 0 sword and we have 0 heroic HP. And basically that's kind of the start of an inventory system. So let's go back to that first passage and just reformat this a bit so it's obviously an inventory system. So I've just put a line there, and I'm just bolding the title. And what we'll do is we'll just get rid of a little bit of that text that isn't really adding much. So the I have and I have, we'll just have a list of what our character actually has here at the beginning of their story, which really isn't much. And then we'll just move that link back up to the main text. Let's play this and see how it looks now. You see, we have our inventory right at the bottom there, nice and clean. And this is a format that we can add to every single page if we like. But let's get the hero started on their journey by going to the next passage and changing things up a little bit. All right, let's click on Epic Beginning and write some sort of entry into herodom for our hero. Okay, so by some miracle, a fairy godmother bestows gifts upon me. Woohoo! I'm a hero. So now we can change our inventory. We can change what items we have, basically. So to do this, we're going to introduce a new version of our macro. So for our short sword, I have, open bracket, set our variable, short sword, equals short sword plus 1, closing round bracket. Short sword and short sword. And we'll do the same with HP. So we're going to raise our hit points. This is the same macro. Our new HP amount is going to be HP plus 10. We're adding 10 to the amount of hit points we already have. So, what does this all mean? Well, let's go through it step by step. First, we open our round bracket. Next, we're going to use our set command with a colon. Next, we have the name of our variable, because we need to know what we're setting. The fourth stage is the equal sign. So we are going to tell it what number the variable equals. And then because we're adding to this, our step 5 is we're going to have the variable name plus the new amount we want to add. And then we close our round bracket. Now this is a bit of the code. In order to allow our reader/player to see this, we need to place the variable again, so the name of our variable, so they can see how many of that variable they have, so what the number is. So now that we have our macros set up for the change in the amount of short swords and HP that we have, let's go and get our inventory set up on the second page. So I'm just going to copy the inventory content from our first passage and go to the second one and paste it here, just so it looks exactly the same. And so now, actually, let's change this. Just change the wording a bit. There we go. Now let's have a look at it. So we'll just play this. And we already know what this looks like. Let's go to Epic Beginning. And now you see that we suddenly have 1 short sword and we have 10 heroic HP, and that's reflected in our inventory amount. And there you have it. We now have a responsive inventory system created by the use of variables. And of course, what this allows you to do is you can have this ongoing and it'll respond to the choices that your player makes. So once your twine gets bigger, I mean, we only have 2 pages right now, but if you have multiple pages where if your reader goes down one path and they get hit by a monster, then you can put it so that the HP might reflect that battle. But if they don't go down that path, then their HP would be different. So this will respond to all the choices that your reader makes. So I hope this has been helpful to you, and I hope you continue to enjoy using Twine and keep experimenting and figure out your own variables. There are so many things that you can do with this program. Thanks for joining me on this adventure in Twine. Bye, everyone!